Yes, my people. How now? Land, water, immigration, citizenship is the woo of the African child. But let me bring a throwback from yesterday. Nana's Kenke. A lot of buzz was questioning. I got a lot of questions. What is Kenke? This is a porridge-like drink, a booster. Booster. You know that war room saga? I'm coming, don't come. I'm coming, don't come. It's a Sagarai saga. Nana's Kenke. Me say so. This one make you don't come. Huh? Yes, and it's very reasonable. All natural ingredient. Nana's Kenke, like any Kenke, make you don't come. Yes, and she will like it. But you, this reminds me of palm wine from God to man. The syrup that comes from palm tree. I told you about it one time ago. Yes, what has religion got to do with that? Something with no human addedness, except, when they want to over-monitorize it, people add some water or some other grow. But when it is rare from God to man, palm wine, topoloi, there's nothing unholy about it. The only thing, like everything else, if you do it too much, you go cuckoo. It will blow your balls. So if you drink too much palm wine, then you speak with your feet. Palm wine. That's the thing, and that confused Portuguese man, Pedro da Centra. When he landed to the coast of that area, he had a bowl of that given to him by the people, the natives, the indigenous people. He drank it soberly, and he went. He saw the mountain like a lion. That's how he said this place is called Hallelujah, which they say in Portuguese means Lion Mountain. And when the British kicked the Portuguese out, they just said, we are too lazy to do anything like the British. Because Sierra Leone, and Africans got independence, we still call it Sierra Leone, and we say they discovered. Anyway, back to my topic. When the Nova Scotians came to Sierra Leone, our brothers returned, they were lied to. They never gave them land. Their brothers and sisters in the coastal area gave them land. And then they came with the colonial mentality and divided themselves, started calling themselves, or the people who hosted them, country native, while they remain Creoles. And what did the British do? They passed a constitutional law that disallowed the Creoles, that means the returned Africans, not to own land outside of Western area. No right to land in the provinces. And they were happy because they thought they were not country, they were not natives. We are seeing the same problem with Africans returning today to Africa, or Africans born in the continent, and we come to this concrete jungle and we call ourselves diasporans. Now Sierra Leone President Bio have just recommended for a law to be passed, a law that was recommended or proposed by Honorable Nyom Keller, a presidential candidate or an opposition party member of the so-called coalition party, National Coalition, for diasporans to have the right to vote and be voted for as ministers or presidential. Yes, it's good to have the right to vote and be voted for. That is true. But imagine You have the right to vote wherever you are. But if you're going back to a place to become a parliamentarian or a president, don't you think you should have a constituency? That means you live in your locality, pay tax, and contribute like every citizen. That's the role of a citizen. You cannot buy votes, and you cannot buy to be voted for. So if the diaspora want to go and become a parliamentarian or to be voted as a president and live with an hyphenated citizenship, African diaspora, then that's a coconut-headedness. Yes, have the right to vote and be voted for, but I should earn my chicken. Yeah, having said that, I'll roast the balls of anyone that deprive any African, anyone that looks like me, once an African, always an African, that you don't need a DNA to be an African. So, Africans should eliminate these inconveniences of immigration woes that colonialists give Africans in the diaspora or in the concrete jungle. Let us be allowed to live and travel around Africa freely and call any African country home. As long as you create a constituency, pay taxes and contribute, you should have the right of vote and be voted for. So I call on President Mother Bio. I congratulate him and congratulate Nyom Kela for pioneering the mission. But we are tired of tourist politicians. And that is why I am calling on President Mother Bio to immediately propose to the Attorney General to bring a motion to Parliament that we take away that presidential power, that confused power really, that allows the president to appoint a non-voted for, a non-elected person to become a minister. I think it is unfortunate, it was ill thought, and must be replaced. People with constituency, people who have fought and being voted for by citizens of their constituency should have a mandate to become the custodians or parliamentarians so that they have a constituency to return to. And furthermore, since you're on the groundbreaking of setting records of reorganizing and welcoming Africans and giving them all the right, please, it is imperative and very urgent that President Mother Bio once again repeal that despicable colonial law that disallowed our brothers and sisters who are Creoles or deemed to be Creoles, even though they consider themselves non-country, non-natives, but to repeal that despicable law that was enshrined by the British colonialists, preventing them from owning land and property in the provinces. It is archaic, it is inhumane, and must be repealed. You are moving on. You are setting records. You promise, you deliver. You've delivered and eliminated and vacapilated that libel law against journalists. What should be done now is to enhance it so that nonsensical journalists or random journalists suffer of their institution because they can be sued for defamation and libel. You have repealed the death sentence, but you failed to bring a pronouncing statement that yes, the death sentence is gone, but if you are a financier, inciter, gangster, or vigilante that disturbs the national security and public safety, you pay these consequences of hard labor. Yes, that should be put. And that brings the question of land, immigration, and what? When a sitting president permits a fellow citizen to be drugged and deported out of his country or our country, that president is unpresidential and unparliamentarian should be punished. And I talk about that Uhuru rising himself. We call on all Pan-Africanists, all sensible thinking Africans, to think and borrow the words of Prime Minister Mayor Morty of Barbados, that we should suffocate those who do not want Africans to work together. Let us make sure that our borders becomes borderless wherever Africans are. Let us use the transatlantic ocean that our brothers and sisters, our ancestors were suffocated across. Utilize it so that we can fly from Barbados, from Jamaica, from Grenada, from St. Vincent, from Cuba, from wherever we are as Africans, come back to our motherland. But I will be remiss not to repronounce this, that the homecoming must be conditioned. When I look at the indigenous people of North America, when one of my greatest musical pioneer and phenomenal sister, a beautiful singer-songwriter, yes, wanted to return to her roots, Buffer St. Marie. She was adopted by an indigenous family so that she can understand the traditions, the rules. So I beg on all African nations and those that are returning to Africa, if you're really returning to an Africa, don't go as an affinated African. Find a family that will welcome you home and adopt you as members. Don't go as an African American, Black American, British this, and your feet is there and there. Then you are just another mosquito in a disguised fashion. Africa doesn't need pretenders. Africa needs the Marcus Garvey's mentality, the Peter Tosh mentality, the Kwame Nkrumah mentality. We are tired of the ZZZ. Welcome home. You don't need a DNA to be an African. Immigration rules should end, and Africans land, water, a roof over our head is our mental health, because health is wealth, and we are not poor. Africa on the rise.